Welcome back, folks, to another Westies Angling. I'm going to be trying a new stretch of the Ribble today. I'm actually trying the stretch of the Ribble that's on my Wigan card. I've been a Wigan member for 2 years now, and I've never been down to try this stretch. And I was just going to come and have a look and not fish, but I thought there's no point in that. It's a bit of a trek down here for me, down to Preston, so there's no point not coming down here and not bringing my rods, is there? So we're here. It's a bit of a rigmarole to get down here, and it is a bit of a walk, so it's not really one for the disabled anglers out there. But I've just reached the Ribble. It's warm, isn't it, girls? Beautiful little stretch of the Ribble, this, surrounded by countryside. In terms of the conditions, obviously it's a very, very bright day, which I've found is never really good for river fishing conventionally, although I have had my PB barbel on a day like this when it's low, slow and blazing hot, so you can't predict it, can you? You've just got to try it. I think really the river needs a little bit more water in it. I think we need a bit more rain. I think that goes for everywhere. We've just not had enough of it this year. So even though we've got lovely conditions to be out fishing today, it's not necessarily good for the fishing itself. There's not many areas on this stretch where you can actually get down to an access, but I'm looking for deeper spots. Right, folks, I'm going to find somewhere to fish and then we'll get into it. How are we going to manage anything today? I don't know, but we're outside, we're getting some fresh air, we've got some exercise in with that walk, and you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? So let's give it a go. Well, folks, there doesn't seem to be many places where you can actually get down to the river. I've found one spot so far and it was really shallow, so I'll give that one a miss. Well, back on the march. There's definitely not enough space to set up for filming there in that swim. Whew, this is a fair old trek. Also, just a little side note for everybody moaning on my river videos that I'm giving you spots away. You know where they are because you're watching the videos and you know the river. But Dave from Ipswich isn't going to know whereabouts on the river that is. You know what I mean? So don't worry about it. Your spots are safe. People that know the river will already know where the spots are. So don't stress about it. Also, it's hard on the Ribble. So what you'll find is people will go once and then they'll give up. Oh yeah, this is a good swim here, folks. This is us. Ooh. I knew we went then. I've not got my waders today either. But to be honest with you, it looks really deep off that side anyway. I bet it's going down to 6 foot there. Yeah. This is a swim, folks, this is a swim. Back end of this corner, where the flow is pushing through on this inside edge. Let's go here. Whew. This is us for the day. So what am I hoping for today? A few chub would be really nice. Obviously, if we're lucky enough to pick up a barbel, but I'm not sure the conditions are right. Very, very low and slow, but I can see just off here, incredibly deep. But I reckon we'll bottom down there with, I don't know, very, very light leads. And I can get down here to net fish if I need to. Got the polarised WestysAngling sunglasses on, so I can see everything. Some boulders out midway, but I can't see any fish. And I can see the bottom. Right, well, let's get a rod set up. I'll take you through the setup very quickly and then we'll get a rod out, folks. As I've said to you, folks, this session for me isn't really about the fishing, it's more about exploring and having a look at the river. But I've brought my rods anyway, obviously. Oh my gosh, sketchy ass bridge. Right, so I could have filled this up with my guide rope that actually comes with these buckets, but like a numpty, I've forgotten the best part of my own product. So we'll go down here and we'll fill it up in the shallow area. I brought my coat as well today because, well, it's Britain, isn't it? Could be chucking it down in half an hour. Got me lovely worms, dendrobinas, and we're going to be doing a bit of a worm kebab on a her, I think, to start with. Some naturals. So essential river baits, garlic pellets, they pack a punch, and then also I've got some river blend ground bait there as well, which is like a higher oil content. Just puts out a bit more feed than you would probably want in your normal commercials. So let's put some pellets in there. Now this is probably enough for a couple of sessions. I know I've got my own baits, folks, but even I don't waste it. So I'll put a few of them pellets in, and they absolutely stink of garlic. Plenty of smell going out there. And then probably about half a bag of that ground bait. Those pellets will take on some of that water as well, so I'm going to give it a good mix there with my hands. And we want a stiff mix, we want it to hold in the feeder, because the thing that I've learned about river fishing is you don't want to pile the bait in. You want the feed breaking off the feeder little and often. You want small particles coming off, and then the fish will actually chase that upstream rather than following it downstream when it all washes out. You don't want it to all wash out at once. I think that is where a lot of people make the mistakes. It's not particularly like a coarse fishery where you want it all coming out of the feeder straight away and making a pile of ground bait on the bottom, because obviously most of it's going to get washed away, and then what's going to happen is the fish will follow it. I'm going to have one upstream rod across from here in this deep swim here where that tree is, and then one downstream rod if I can cast it. Yeah, I want to be just out from this broken tree here near this snag, so I'll go about a metre off that, and I think those two rods there will be fine. A couple of fish topping. I think I'm going to have to fish a little bit heavier than I normally would because of the snags, and I'm going to have to kind of bully the fish in certain directions to get them netted. I've got a nice long 3 metre net handle, so I should be okay getting down. Now, I obviously talk you through these things, folks, so that you can replicate them if you need to. Oh, kingfisher, did you hear that? My legs are on fire, I've been nettled to shit, but it's a bit warm for pants. So I don't actually take a chair with me when I'm river fishing. I use my own hooking mat because I never catch anything anyway, so it don't get it don't get wet and dirty, so I might as well sit on it. So that's what we're using as a chair today. I'm going to start off with a 3 ounce and a 4 ounce feeder on the other. I'm going to be using my own bolt and run kits, so I'm going to need 2 bolt and run beads, so we'll put them up there, and we're going to alter them slightly. I'll show you what I'm going to do. And I'm also going to need quick change swivels, and I'm going to need 2 run rings and 2 run ring sleeves. Really nice day today, folks. I can hear the crickets singing away, chirping away. I'm just going to make a slight alteration to these bolt and run kits here. You see where there's a hole in them? Probably can't see it on the GoPro, but I'm just going to trim them down to that, because they're designed to be used in a heli rig as well. So when you're using them in an inline setup like this, I just trim them down. It stops the size 8 quick change swivels slipping up into them on the cast when you're using heavy feeders. So that's all I do. Slight change. Bolt bead on, run ring on, then the rest of the bolt and run bead, and then size 8 swivel. I would use a uni knot or a Palomar knot. Give that a wet down, pull it tight, test the knot, make sure it's strong. Yep. Knots are one of the most important things in fishing. A lot of the time, if you get a break, it's going to be a knot that lets you down. And there we go, that's the setup, simple as that. So we're obviously going to have an anti-tangle sleeve over that once we've got our hook length on. I obviously tie all my hook lengths up in advance, so I'm not messing about on the bank. Not got many left though. God, I don't know if I've got any left. Might have to tie some up on the bank. Right, well, we'll use this one for now, and then I'll tie another up. Right, so that's that rig ready to go. So let's get a baiting needle. What I would normally do is put maggots on the hook as well, just to make sure that the worms don't obscure the hook point, but we won't do that today. So I've got 3 worms on there, which is probably overkill. Just going to trim the ends off that lower one like that, just so it doesn't catch the hook point. But there we go, We just need to get some feed in there, cast it out. And as you can see, this feeder mix with the garlic pellets has gone really stiff. Stuff that in. Bolt bead down tightly. That should take a while to come out of that. And they'll be chasing that feed upstream, which is obviously why they come a lot closer to the feeder. And then they'll snaffle those worms, hopefully. And we'll get a bite. Bit of luck. Chub, barbel, whatever, let's see. And there we go. Bait runner's on. So rods aren't going to get dragged in. The substrate on the bottom in this stretch is a lot like the substrate on the bottom in Church Deeps. It's like that sandy, silty bottom, and then obviously there's the odd big piece of boulder and bedrock towards the middle and stuff. I'm sure that there's boulders and bedrock down here as well, but I can't see any. Just because I'm filming, folks, I've just put the bite alarm on there instead of the rod rest. We'll get some warning while I'm setting this other rod up, and I'm going for a longer hook length on this one because this one's going downstream. Even when I'm trying to travel light, I always take a spur rod with me just in case, you never know. Especially when I'm using these Grace Prodigy rods. Not the most reliable. Another brew, and then we'll tie a new hook length up. Yeah, I want it about 2 foot. That other one was just a bit short, but it's what I had. I'm still playing about with whether it's better to directly hook what you're fishing with. I think with worms, maggots, softer baits, luncheon meat, stuff like that, you are probably better directly hooking them, but I think you do get a lot more self hookups if you're using a her rig, whether that be with a quick stop or a band. What a peaceful setting. Small fish maybe, plucking at the worms. There's small fish down there, folks, there'll be bigger ones. Let's wait for a proper bite. I honestly didn't think that it was going to be this hot today. This right hand rod is getting absolutely hammered by something small. It's like constantly plucking at it. I might have to, I'm hoping it's not an eel. Could be an eel. It probably is an eel, it's WestysAngling, isn't it? But I might swap to a small hook, maybe like a size 12 feeder hook and a single worm, and see if we can nail whatever that is down there first. Save the blank. So I think I'm going to do that. I'll swap this hook length over to this rod. I'll tie something smaller up on the right hand rod and see if that makes a difference. Let's do that now. Little changes, folks, little changes. I've had my brew. Nice day. I'm going to get burnt red raw. Not brought any sun cream, like an absolute noddy. Got plenty of water with me. Doesn't give these kind of temperatures. No shade here either. Right, let's make these changes, see if we can nab this little fish. Right, so ash, size 12 hook. I'm going to fish a single worm, £6 line. The hook length mono I'm using is this Coram Smoke Shield. I like them because they're just a little spool. You can see how the ground bait and pellets have been washing out slowly, which is what you want. There's loads still in there, but we're just going to top it back up with some fresh. And you just want it slowly coming out of that feeder. You don't want it to be flooding out as soon as you cast him. And there we go, that's a nice small worm. Spin it round. Hook point showing. There we go, single worm. I'm sure something will be able to take that. Must be. Something must be able to take that. It is absolutely scorching today. I have no idea why it's this hot. But it feels, honestly, it feels like about 30 degrees Celsius. It didn't give anything like this kind of temperature on the weather forecast, but my phone's overheated. I've had to put it next to my water bottle in my bag there to try and cool it down. And the GoPro keeps switching itself off as well. So I might not be able to record, which is gutting. Obviously there's a lot goes into the filming side of it, folks, and I really want to catch, every time I come out, I really want to catch something for you and make the video interesting. Obviously this is my full-time job now, so there's a lot of pressure around getting some fish on the bank, and obviously I've taught you through the techniques and I've taught you through what I'm doing, and if it doesn't work I look stupid, but that's fishing at the end of the day. I don't know this stretch, I don't know where the good parts are, I don't know what kind of conditions it fishes well in. The river's fishing hard in general at the moment. I'm not making excuses, it just is. We've just not had enough rain, and the levels need to come up a bit, and then obviously when they start dropping again, that's the time to get out on the bank river fishing. But I am really enjoying it, one, because obviously you never know what you're going to catch, and I like exploring these new stretches, especially on the Ribble. I keep fishing the Ribble because it's reasonably local. It's only about half an hour for me, but I will look at other rivers as well. Obviously it's all time. Yeah, all right, this is my full-time job now. The website takes up all of my time, folks. I'm really struggling to get out on the bank. It's so busy, and I'm not saying that to brag. I don't really want it to be so busy. I'm going to have to start limiting stock. Obviously it's great that it's got to that point, but I'm going to have to start limiting stock on the website so I can get out filming more, because this is the main reason that I finish work. This is the main reason that I quit my job to be a full-time YouTuber, because I want to start enjoying my life more. And I talk a lot about mental health, and I talk a lot about anxiety, and when you don't have a lot of time, you get anxious about coming out filming, because, you know, am I going to catch? Am I going to be able to find a quiet spot to film in? So, you know, I do struggle to get out sometimes, and I've mentioned this before, because I talk myself out of coming, which isn't the right attitude. I should just come down here and enjoy it, do you know what I mean? So people are killed to do this, but yeah, there's a lot of pressure involved in coming down here and not catching, because you've got to film an intro, you've got to talk through everything that you're doing, and then if you don't catch, you feel like you've wasted your time. So yeah, it's not easy, folks, and I do understand why, you know, YouTubers sometimes take breaks out and stuff like that from it, because it can get to you, and you need to just swap your mindset over and say, look, it's real. I'm coming down here, whether I catch or not, I'm still going to post a video. You know that I post blanks, and you've just got to, you know, enjoy the time that you're on the bank. Am I going to catch all the time? No. Do I have really good sessions sometimes? Of course I do. The bait's right, the spot's really good. I don't think there's anything wrong with this area that we're in. The fish are obviously just not on the feed, or I'm not in the exact right spot. So, you know, play about with things. I've gone with a lighter hook length. I've you know, worms are fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with the naturals. If I'm going to catch on anything, I'll catch on them. So I'm cycling through things all the time. We'll let this helicopter go past and I'll carry on. It sounds like I'm making excuses on why I'm not catching. I'm not, folks, honestly. But northwest rivers are tough. The Ribble's a tough river. You can have good days on it. You can have really good days and some absolutely cracking fish in it to target, but it's not easy. You know, we don't have these lovely southern chalk streams and stuff like that. That's not a dig, folks, I'm just jealous. We don't have these lovely chalk streams unless, you know, you're going up into, you know, Yorkshire way and stuff like that. But yeah, northwest rivers, a lot of them are polluted. A lot of them aren't very well looked after, unfortunately. So while I'm rabbiting on, a little update for those of you that are following the channel. Where do I see the channel going? Well, I want to be one of the best all-round anglers out there, and I want to do all different types of fishing. You know, I've got people asking me to go and do 24-hour sessions for cats again. I've got people telling me to go and do some coastal fishing, and I want to do all these things, but like I said, I'm under time constraints, folks, and I've only got like 2 days a week, maybe even 2 afternoons a week to get out at the minute. That's how tightly packed my time is, and this is what I need to be prioritizing. So yeah, I want to do some sea fishing, I want to do some fishing abroad. I've been promising you that I want to go and do that, but it's going to mean closing the website for a number of weeks while I go and find some countries to fish in. I've got the setups ready, everything that I need to go and do it. I just need to do it. But we'll probably do that towards the back end of the year when the fishing starts dropping off in the UK. Obviously, I've been doing a lot of river fishing recently since the rivers have opened back up, and that's because I honestly really enjoy it. I like the peace, I like the tranquility. Half the time you've got the bank to yourself during the week. So I think next week we'll give the rivers a bit of a rest, and we'll do some normal course fishing on commercials, and do some supermarket bait challenges or something like that. Something interesting, something exciting. Just look at the size of this river, folks, when you think about it. I know there's much bigger rivers out there, but Stunning river. There's just something primal about tidal rivers. And you never know what you're going to catch. Never know. I'd really love to try for a river carp on the Ribble this year. They do get caught, they do come out. They come out of the free stretch more often than not. But they're very mobile, so it's knowing where they are. And on a river, it's not really like you can pre-bait a swim because it just gets washed away. So you just got to catch it lucky. Fish durable baits, boilies and whatnot, and fish strong enough to get them in. Right folks, so a couple of changes for the last hour or two. I've put on an 85 gram ESP method feeder, and I've tied up a method feeder hook length there, and we're going to give the method a try. I've also put my 3 ounce quiver tip on the rod rather than the solid tip. So let's give this a go. Maybe just something a bit more subtle. I'm going to be using my sweet corn wafters, and I'm going to be putting a bit of garlic liquid on the top. So maybe just this slightly scaled down approach. I say scaled down, obviously it's a heavy method feeder and stuff, but because the flow's not that strong, you don't really need to fish with a cage feeder. This will hold bottom fine. Because the mix is quite stiff, I want this to come out pretty much when it lands, so I'm just going to put the hook in the top there, and that'll be enough, and then that'll hang free. Obviously it's more visible, so hopefully a chub or whatever will come in and feed on that. Obviously hook itself, because it's a self-hooking method, and we'll move this around every cast, I reckon. There's another fella just turned up, he's fishing down there, he's managed to get down the banking and he's fishing probably about halfway across. So I'll do the same. Believe it or not, within about 30 seconds of the method feeder being out, I've just had a big drop back on it. Obviously not hooked itself. And we're in folks on the method feeder on the sweet corn wafters. Right now what we need to do is figure out how we're going to land the bugger without, oh no, there we go. On the sweet corn wafter. Let's get back up here. Oh. Happy days. There we go. Roach. Save the blank. Nice roach on the method feeder. Let's get it back out. First cast on the sweet corn wafters. Happy days. Stick to what we know best there folks. Method feeder. On the sweet corn wafters, maybe it's just something that bit more visible. Just homed in on it. If we get another one, we know obviously that's the way forward. Just using a 4-inch method feeder hook length. Same setup as I'd use on a commercial, but with a micro barbed hook. Easy in it really. Right, let's get it back out. Just crumbling this mix in. I've forgotten where I cast that. It was about midway, wasn't it? Tiny bit of garlic, strong stuff. Got to be so careful with these rods because line tends to get wrapped up around the tip. Happy days. Just had my second roach, folks. My GoPro's overheating, so it keeps not switching on all the time, which is a bit frustrating now that we're catching, but it is what it is. But within about 30 seconds of each other, them two bites. Fishing about midway across. Try to slow it down a touch on impact. Bites have been dropped back, so fishing tight to the feeder. Let's see how quick this one goes. Oh, that must have been what was picking at the worms down here on the other rod. It must be roach. Farmer that came speeding past on his tractor then and absolutely sprayed me with seed. Got shrapnel, got seed stuck in me everywhere. As soon as I switch bite cam on to try and get the takes on camera, dead. Telling you, this is the problems with YouTube. When you want something to go a certain way, it doesn't. Maybe. Maybe it does. I mean, they're hardly the biggest fish in the world, but catching. Learn from me, folks, learn from me. I'm going to be burnt to a crisp. Stupid. Look at that, quality roach. There we go. Another nice one. Here we go. Method feeder fishing for roach on the Ribble with the sweet corn wafters. Literally just unhooking themselves in a net. And you know what, those bigger fish can move in at any time, so I'm happy to just keep myself preoccupied with this smaller stuff until the chunks come in. But I'm happy just catching the roach. They're all nice fish. You can't tell me that the method feeder is not the king of all tactics. From small fish to bigger lumps. Slightly better roach, that one, folks. It is such a relief when that wind picks up. I'm burnt to an absolute crisp today. After how much I go on at people about make sure you bring your sunscreen on my videos. Rookie error, folks, rookie error. Well, I just want to say I hope you've enjoyed the video. Absolutely bagged up on the method feeders. I've not filmed all the roach, but I bet I've had 25 roach on the method feeders, pretty much all of them on the left hand rod. I hope this video shows you that if you flip up your tactics, it can get you a few fish that you wouldn't have got otherwise. And I just want to say, if you have enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. There's something for everybody on the channel, folks. River fishing, course fishing on commercials, specimen fishing, whatever, I do it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. If I get anything else other than roach for the rest of the day, I'll put the clip in after this. See you next time, folks.